All right, so it's 2022, and for my very first video for 2022, I want to tell you that we are in 2022 setting up to break a record that was last set in, and I just want to check here. So it was last set in 1967. And I'm going to bet that you will not guess what it is for, because it seems unimaginable, certainly to somebody like me, that it has taken from 1967 to 2022. So 1967, about like 54 years for a new record to be set. And this record is for rockets going up into space. I know it's hard to believe that 1967 was the year that we set the last record where 139 rockets were launched. And so that was part of the original space race when we were trying to get people to the moon. It all begins in 1957, and by 1968, it had peaked. So in 1957, we had 3 launches. By 1967, we had 139. And it's taken all the way into 2022, where we are finally on pace to completely destroy that record. I mean, we are going to see, in all likelihood, several hundred rockets launched into space. In fact, I was watching one of my favorite space YouTubers, Scott Manley, and he was doing a review of how many rockets were launched just actually last week. And let me get this count here. So he counted, there was the launch from Ariane of the James Webb Space Telescope, which is this tennis court size space telescope that is going to go to outer space and really be something that can really bring back information that we have been unable to have really ever. So an amazing development in space that a lot of people are watching. Russia launched 2 rockets themselves. And we're talking about just last week. We're not talking about last year. We're talking about last week. Japan launched a rocket. China launched 3. And then for those of you who are tracking SpaceX, and I'm a big fan of Elon Musk's SpaceX, I mean, they put up 31 rockets to go into space, 26 rockets, to go into space last year. And they're planning for something like 48 this year, including 3 of their big rockets that really, take big payloads into space. So why am I bringing all this up? Well, unless you're really closely tracking space like I am, because obviously I'm a fan, and I'm an investor. I mean, I believe this is going to be one of the bigger investment opportunities of this decade, which is space. There is a boom unfolding here. There's a complete, utter boom unfolding here in space, and yet there's almost nobody really focusing on it or talking about it. Now, we identified space as being a very America 2.0 theme, a very fourth industrial revolution theme, because this is an industry that gets started essentially in 1957, goes through sort of its research and sort of like beginning nascent stages, and then goes through a period of like extraordinary hibernation. So I'm just looking at this, this record here, and we go from 139 launches in 1967 to a low of something like 54 launches, which happens in 2004. So you go from this high from the Apollo program and trying to get someone to the moon to a complete crash. And during that period, there's a lot of development that is going on. I mean, we're working on a number of things. There's also a shift that happens where we go from all government programs to now where there are private programs, not just in the United States, but there are private programs even in China that are looking to really commercialize space. And now we are well underway, where we're going to have, in all likelihood, 2022 is just going to be a record that completely blows away the 1967 record. And then we're going to keep going from there to more and more launches, more and more satellites being put into space, more bodies being put into space. There's talk of a new space station being put up by any number of countries. In other words, this is the breakout moment for space. And yet the vast majority of folks really, my guess is, have almost no investment in space. Now, we're all in on space across our services, premium services. We've got rocket companies, In Profits Unlimited, which is my flagship service. It's the introductory service. We have one space stock that's in there. It's a very small stock that really has a very unique technology and a unique place where it can move things between orbits in space. And I believe that this is a kind of new space infrastructure industry that is going to develop and is going to be huge over time, because we are going to need to move things in space. I mean, just think about it as logistics. We have to move things on Earth, and we're going to have to move things in space. So there is an utter boom going on here. And I believe that 2022, you're going to see a lot of investors come in and take interest in space and look to find ways to participate in what is also going to be an investment boom. In other words, money is going to push into space stocks and push them higher. And we'll also have more companies come public. And hopefully, if Elon Musk allows it, SpaceX will come public as well. And that will really bring attention to this sector of the market, which right now is very much under the radar. And if you want to watch a presentation that I did on space, because I am very bullish, very optimistic, very positive, very BOP, if you will, on space, you can click on the strong hands that are going to show up. And I'll show you my presentation on space and why I believe this is going to be one of the big winning investment sectors in 2022 and beyond. So that's my first video for 2022. I hope all of you had a wonderful holiday. I wish all of you a happy new year, and to a 2022 that is BOP. And I'll have another video for you next week. Until then, this is Paul saying bye.